This is the last topic of Physics Chapter 5, uh, Upthrust in Fluids, Archimedes' Principle and Flotation. So this is the last part, flotation. We have already discussed flotation in the previous parts. It's not that this is completely new and we have to start from the beginning. So I'm not going to go in so much of detail, but there are certain principles of flotation on which some questions can be asked. So we'll just go through the principles of flotation and then study the various, you can say, situations. So principle of flotation. When a body is immersed in a liquid, two forces act on the body. Weight W of the body acting vertically downwards through the center of gravity G of the body. And this force has a tendency to sink the body. The other force which acts on the body when it is immersed in a liquid is Fb, the buoyant force, upthrust, which is acting vertically upwards through the center of buoyancy B, that is center of gravity of the displaced liquid. We have discussed it earlier, right? The upthrust or buoyant force is equal to the magnitude, is equal in magnitude to the weight of the liquid displaced. This force has a tendency to make the body float. So as you can see in this figure, two forces are clearly visible. We have seen this figure earlier. Buoyant force and weight. Buoyant force is upward, directed upward through the center of buoyancy, and uh, weight is acting downwards through the center of gravity. Center of buoyancy is nothing but the center of gravity of displaced liquid. In magnitude, weight of the body is equal to volume of body multiplied by density of body multiplied by acceleration due to gravity. And upthrust is equal to volume of the submerged part of the body multiplied by density of liquid. See here, the weight of body had density of body, but upthrust has density of liquid multiplied by acceleration due to gravity. Obviously, the upthrust is maximum when the whole body or complete volume of the body is immersed inside the liquid. So depending upon whether the maximum upthrust F dash B is less than, equal to or greater than the weight of the body will either sink or float in the liquid. So we consider three cases. When weight is greater than the maximum upthrust, the weight is equal to the maximum upthrust, and weight is less than maximum upthrust. When weight is greater than maximum upthrust, the body sinks. The body sinks in the liquid. So this is the case when weight of the body is greater than the maximum upthrust. Okay. Also remember that density of solid is greater than the density of liquid in this case. Case 2 is when the weight of the body is equal to the maximum upthrust. In this case, the body will float. In this case, the density of solid will be equal to the density of the liquid in which it is submerged. And in this case, the body will float with its complete volume submerged within the liquid. Case 3 is when the weight of the body is less than the maximum upthrust. In this case, some part of the body will float outside. The body will float, but some part of the body will float outside the surface of the liquid. Okay, so only that much portion of the body gets submerged. ये बार बार ये लोग बताते हैं. Only that much portion of the body gets submerged, by which the weight of the displaced liquid becomes equal to the weight of the body. And in this situation, while floating, weight W acts at the center of gravity, while upthrust acts at the center of buoyancy, which is vertically below G. And weight W is equal to the upthrust only due to submerged part of the body. Okay, so apparent weight of the body will be zero in this case also. In the third case and in the second case, since the bodies are floating in both the cases, the apparent weight of the body is zero or the net force is zero. Okay, in this case, the density of body is less than the density of liquid. In this case, density of body is equal to the density of liquid, and in this case, density of body is greater than the density of liquid. Okay, so from the above discussion, we find that for a floating body, weight of body should be equal to weight of the liquid displaced by the submerged part of the body. or W is equal to FB. Weight of the body should be equal to upthrust, and apparent weight of the body will become 0. This is the principle of flotation. So according to the principle of flotation, the weight of a floating body is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by its submerged part. Relation between volume of submerged part of floating body, the densities of liquid and the body. That is this formula they are talking about. How to derive this relationship? See, whenever the body is floating, the weight of the body is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by the body, which is the upthrust. Now, weight of the body is equal to volume of the body multiplied by the density of solid or solid body multiplied by the acceleration due to gravity. And upthrust or weight of the liquid displaced by the submerged part of the body is equal to volume of the submerged part of the body multiplied by density of liquid multiplied by acceleration due to gravity. दोनों साइड से g कट हो जाएगा acceleration due to gravity. So we get small v upon capital V, that is the volume of body submerged inside the liquid upon the total volume of body is equal to rho s upon rho l, density of solid upon density of liquid. This is very important formula. Numericals इतने सारे इस formula पे है कि तुम्हें it will be very easy if you use this formula. Okay, so this is relationship between volume of submerged part of body or floating body, the density of liquid and density of body. But हाँ, ये सिर्फ floating bodies के लिए ये formula applicable है. ठीक है? So volume of immersed or submerged part of body upon total volume of body, small v upon capital V, is equal to density of body rho s upon density of liquid rho L. A cork of density rho s is equal to 3 by 4 gram per centimeter cube while floating in water will have its 3/4 part immersed inside water, where density of liquid is 1 gram per centimeter cube, and 1/4 part outside the surface of water. A cube of ice, density rho s, which is equal to 0.9 gram per centimeter cube, will have 90% of its volume immersed in water. मतलब अगर हमें किसी भी बॉडी की डेंसिटी पता है तो हमें ये पता लग सकता है कि उसका कितना पार्ट पानी के अंदर रहेगा जब उसको सबमर्ज करेंगे. ठीक है, और कितना पार्ट फ्लोटिंग रहेगा आउटसाइड द सरफेस ऑफ वाटर, सिर्फ वाटर में, कोई दूसरे लिक्विड में नहीं. ठीक है, एप्लीकेशन ऑफ प्रिंसिपल ऑफ फ्लोटेशन देख लो. ये भी बहुत छोटा सा पार्ट है, कोई ज्यादा बड़ा पार्ट नहीं है, बहुत छोटा है, इसका थियरी बहुत लिमिटेड है. ठीक है, फ्लोटेशन ऑफ आयन शिप. एन आयन नेल सिंक्स इन वाटर व्हाइल अ शिप फ्लोट्स. ये हमने पहले भी पढ़ा हुआ है, देख लो फिर से, क्योंकि हमने प्रिंसिपल ऑफ फ्लोटेशन पढ़ा है तो उसके कंटेक्स्ट में भी हम लोग थोड़ा समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. If we place an iron nail on the surface of water, it sinks. This is because the density of iron is greater than that of water. So the weight of nail is more than the upthrust of water on it. On the other hand, ships are also made of iron, but they do not sink because the ship is hollow and the empty space in it contains air, which makes its volume large and average density less than that of water. Therefore, even with a small portion of ship submerged in water, the weight of water displaced by the submerged part becomes equal to the total weight of the ship, and therefore it floats. A loaded ship is submerged more while an unloaded ship is less submerged. इसके ऊपर से give reasons पूछ सकते हैं. So be aware. When cargo is loaded on a sailing ship, its weight increases, so it sinks further to displace more water till the weight of water displaced by its submerged part becomes equal to the weight of the loaded ship. If cargo is unloaded, the ship will rise in water till the weight of the water displaced balances the weight of the unloaded ship. मतलब लोडेड शिप, कार्गो छोड़ दो, तुम ये भी देखो कि कुछ लोग शिप में बैठ रहे हैं तो वो शिप ज्यादा अंदर सबमर्ज होता है. तुमने देखा था बोट कैप्साइज हो जाता है, ऐसे न्यूज देखे होंगे, पढ़े होंगे तुमने, कैप्साइज हो जाता है मतलब डूब जाता है, टर्न हो जाता है। क्यों होता है ऐसा? बिकॉज इट इज लोडेड मोर देन इट्स कैपेसिटी, इसलिए वो ज्यादा सबमर्ज करता है। ज्यादा सबमर्ज करता है मतलब उसके डूबने के चांसेस ज्यादा रहते हैं। A ship begins to submerge more as it sails from sea water to river water. The water of river is of low density. Why is the river water of low density? Because sea water as comparative to river water has got more dissolved salts in it. So sea water का density river water से ज्यादा होता है. Therefore, when ship sails from sea water to river water, that is high density water to low density water, it sinks further. The reason is that, according to the law of flotation, to balance the weight of the ship, greater volume of water is required to be displaced. Greater volume of water is required to be displaced in water of lower density. So, in order to displace more water in lower density water, it will sink more, right? That's why when a ship enters from sea water to river water, it sinks more. Plimsoll line. Each ship has a white line, indicator line, painted on its side, known as plimsoll line. This line indicates the safe limit for loading the ship in water of density 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube. मतलब एक वाइट लाइन होती है, इंडिकेटर लाइन होती है, मैंने एट्थ में भी तुम्हें बताया है, क्लास एट्थ में, कि ये जो लाइन है दैट इज एन इंडिकेटर of how much a ship can be submerged safely in any water, right? If a ship submerges more than plimsoll line level, then it is dangerous. The ship can sink anytime. If a huge wave comes, or if it is a rough sea, or if the load is increased further, the ship will sink. So plimsoll line is the capacity. It shows the capacity or the level up to which a ship can submerge in water safely. A ship is not allowed to be loaded further when its plimsoll line starts touching the water level, so that when it sails in sea water if of density more than 1000 kg per meter cube, only the part of it below the plimsoll line remains submerged in water. But if a ship is unloaded, it is filled with sand at its bottom, because unloaded ship does not sink much, does not displace more water. So it is very unstable. Its center of gravity is above the surface of water, and that's why it's very unstable. So if strong winds and waves come, they can easily turn the ship. It is dangerous. The ship may get blown over on its side by strong winds. Therefore, an unloaded ship is filled with sand or stones called ballast. It is called ballast tank. In ships also there are ballast at its bottom. So this lowers its center of gravity and make it more stable, and make its equilibrium lower and more stable. Flotation of human body. See, average density of human body depends on the proportion of its constituents like bone, blood, muscles, and fat, as each constituent has different density. Further, it also depends on the amount of air in the lungs. वैसे एवरेज डेंसिटी ह्यूमन बॉडी का एम्प्टी लंग्स के साथ 1.07 ग्राम पर सेंटीमीटर क्यूब है, जस्ट लिटिल बिट मोर देन द डेंसिटी ऑफ वाटर, while the lungs filled with air, it is 1 gram per centimeter cube. That is equal to the density of water. A good swimmer can float on water like a floating object, with his lungs filled with air and nose and mouth projecting just above the water surface. तुमने देखा होगा बहुत लोगों को ऐसे float करते हुए. The weight of water displaced by him is then nearly equal to his own weight. Thus, he can swim with a very little effort. ठीक है? So humans actually sink नहीं करते, उनका tendency generally sinking का नहीं होता है. But humans sink because they get panicked. They feel that they are going down, and they cannot fill their lungs properly with air. So their body, they drink water and their lungs get filled with water. So their body gets heavy, denser, and they sink. जनरली पैनिक करने से ही सिंक होते हैं, पैनिक नहीं करेंगे तो फ्लोट करते रहेंगे. Okay. It is easier for a man to swim in sea water than in fresh water. Yes, because sea water has got higher density. फ्रेश वाटर से ज़्यादा डेंसिटी होती है, इसलिए स्मॉलर पोर्शन ऑफ द बॉडी submerged inside the sea water will displace water equal to the total weight of the body. Hence, the upthrust on the body will by the sea water will allow it to float easily. In Dead Sea, Dead Sea, there are no fishes or anything. That's why it's known as Dead Sea. Its density is nearly 1.16 gram per centimeter cube. So much of salt is dissolved in it. So man can easily float or swim in Dead Sea with small portion of his body submerged inside the water so as to balance his weight. Submarines. A submarine is a fish-shaped watertight boat provided with several ballast tanks or flotation tanks in its top and in its front and rear part. So this figure shows the ballast tanks. So suppose this submarine is floating. Now it wants to go inside the water, underwater. So what will it do? Uh, there will be mechanism with help of which these ballast tanks will be opened, and as soon as they get opened, the water starts filling into it, and when water starts filling into it, it sinks because its density increases, so it goes below. Now suppose a submarine wants to come up, so what will happen is the pumps in the ballast tanks forces the water out, and the ballast tanks is emptied and again it is filled with air. So the average density of the ballast tanks and the whole submarine decreases, and it comes up to the surface or whichever height up to which it wants to come up to, right? So this is how submarine works. Flotation of iceberg, this is really interesting, because if you know this, you will exactly understand why Titanic sank. Titanic sank because of an iceberg. Do you have an idea? Have you seen the movie? If you have not seen the movie, if you read it somewhere or if you've seen it somewhere, you'll know that Titanic sank because of an iceberg whose tip was visible from far away above the surface of water, and the captain of Titanic thought that this was just a small piece of ice floating on the water, so he did not take it seriously, and that was a huge iceberg, a huge mountain of ice. Okay, so what happened was Titanic collided with that iceberg, and its hull got broken and water started coming into it, and then finally it sank. So why did it happen? Why did this huge mountain of iceberg was mostly inside the water, and why only a small part of it was outside the water? Because of the density of ice. The density of ice is approximately 0.917 gram per centimeter cube. So I told you here that ice floats about with about 90% of its volume inside the water and only 10% outside the surface of water. Just imagine. This is the reason. Therefore, huge mass of ice, known as icebergs, are able to float on water with only their major part inside the water surface and only a small portion above the water surface. तो इसका एक फॉर्मूला है, सेम फॉर्मूला जो हमने पहले भी यूज किया हुआ है, स्मॉल वी अपॉन कैपिटल वी इज इक्वल टू रो आइस अपॉन रो वाटर, और इससे ये पता चलता है कि 91.7 अप्रोक्सीमेटली 90 मोर देन 90% ऑफ इट्स टोटल वॉल्यूम इज बिलो द वाटर सरफेस, ओनली 8.3% of its volume is above the water surface, and that's why it is dangerous for ships. Titanic is a classic example. सी वाटर में और डेंजरस है, नहीं और डेंजरस नहीं है, उतने उससे कम डेंजरस है. 89% ऑफ इट्स वॉल्यूम इज submerged inside sea water and only 10%, approximately 10% water is above sea water. So icebergs are dangerous for ships. Icebergs being lighter than water floats on water with major part inside the water, and only a small part outside the water. Since portion of iceberg inside the water surface depends on density of seawater, therefore for the driver of the ship it becomes difficult to estimate the size of iceberg. Thus an iceberg is very dangerous for the ship as it may collide with the ship and cause damage. No change in level of water on melting a floating piece of ice. This is amazing. When a floating piece of ice melts into water, it contracts by the volume equal to the volume of ice piece above the water surface while floating on it. मतलब जब वो आइस का पीस फ्लोट कर रहा था तो जितना वॉल्यूम उसका वाटर के ऊपर था 10% वॉल्यूम, उतना ही परसेंट वॉल्यूम से वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो जाता है. मतलब उसका 10% वॉल्यूम जब वो मेल्ट करता है तो वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो जाता है. हेंस द लेवल ऑफ वाटर डज नॉट चेंज व्हेन द आइस फ्लोटिंग ऑन द वाटर मेल्ट्स. वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग ना. फ्लोटेशन ऑफ फिश. ये फिशेस के पास ना स्विम ब्लैडर होता है. जैसे सबमरीन के पास बैलास्ट टैंक्स होते हैं, फ्लोटेशन टैंक्स, वैसे ही फिशेस के पास स्विम ब्लैडर होता है. जब फिशेस को ऊपर आना होता है, इट डिफ्यूजेस गैस फ्रॉम द फ्लूइड इनटू द ब्लैडर and the volume of the fish increases and its average density decreases and it rises above. And when the fish wants to go deep, it expels all the gas outside, it empties its bladder so that its volume decreases and density increases, and the upthrust on the fish also decreases and it sinks in the water. Rising of balloons. When a light gas like hydrogen or helium, ये भी पहले पढ़ा था हमने, of density much less than that of air is filled in a balloon, the weight of air displaced by the inflated balloon, that is upthrust, becomes more than the weight of the gas filled balloon and it rises up. Right? But it does not rise indefinitely. Space में नहीं जाता. The reason is that density of air decreases with altitude. Therefore, as balloons gradually goes up, the weight of the displaced air decreases. And it keeps on rising as long as the upthrust on it exceeds its weight. When the upthrust becomes equal to its weight, it stops rising further. और भी मैंने एक चीज बताई थी, वहां पे वो बर्स्ट हो जाते हैं बिकॉज द इनसाइड प्रेशर इंक्रीजेस द becomes more than the outside air pressure. Outside air pressure at that height is very very less, right? So ये तुम्हारा फाइनल पार्ट था फ्लोटेशन का. सो दिस चैप्टर इज ओवर. ओके, इसके न्यूमेरिकल्स है, वी विल डू दैट दोज न्यूमेरिकल्स, बट जो थियरी पार्ट है दैट इज द मेन पार्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड द होल चैप्टर इज ओवर. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.